on behalf of Billy Holcomb, Chapter 1069 of the Ancient and Honorable Order of E. Clapis Vitus, the most feared chapter throughout the land. We want to thank you for opening your home. Why you didn't let us in last night, I'm still scratching my head. Our trophies are esteemed, they're honored, and without further ado, the world's best windmill man. That's awesome. Dave Dutcher made these. Yeah, and they cost a lot of money to make. These are all garbage. I found that. I was a motor officer for the Highway Patrol. That was found on the freeway. This is a camshaft out of a BMW. Back at camp, we have a Harley Davidson cylinder. But this gear might be worn out because that thing was going 100 miles an hour with that wind last night.
It's fully charged though.
Those are the ones that go on the stove. Is that what generated electricity for?
Yeah. Clutch hub off a Harley Davidson.
That's funny. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Dante, you're famous here, dude. You have a fat head of you.
We're like a patriotic group, so that is just
Yeah, look at this place.
over there.
Matt's going to talk about this when we do our, we're going to talk about it a little bit.
Responders, you know, people like to come up and tell you, hey man, thanks for what you do. You know, and what do? We say, yeah, thanks man, I appreciate that, right? But really, honestly, I think more people than not, and again, this is just my opinion, people really mean that. And it's up to us, if we served in the military or we served our community as first responders or whatever we do, however we serve, I truly believe that it's incumbent upon us to reciprocate that warmth. And so I challenge everybody I come in contact with that if you've served in the past or serve right now, somebody tells you thank you for what you do, give them an honest thank you. You know, it doesn't hurt, right? So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. My name's Matt, and I've been working here at Airstreams for a little over 10 years. I retired from the military after spending 29 years and a couple of months and a couple of days serving the Army. I got to do a lot of great things, and I tell everybody that every day was a great day for me, except for about 5. I won't tell you what 5 days those were, but if you've ever served and you've been overseas in combat, you probably can put 2 and 2 together. That being said, I have the great privilege to have gotten hired here at Airstreams and help make the difference in a lot of people's lives. You'll see on my jacket it says 10,000 strong. What that represents is that over the last 15 years, we have been able to, as a company, take care of over 10,000 people that have come through our doors. Not just here in Tehachapi, but also around the country. So very, very quickly, to give y'all a background on what we do here. So a lot of people will say, well, you guys only take care of transitioning service members or veterans. That's not really true. Yes, we service a large population of that group, but we also bring in civilians from all over the country. And what we do is we train them in 6 gates over a period of either 6 or 7 weeks. Here in Tehachapi, we train these students for 6 weeks, and primarily we get them jobs. And so we recruit them, we train them, and then we assist them in getting meaningful employment. And so really it's kind of like a 3-legged stool that we operate on here at Airstream. So as we go through this, so we recruit, we bring them here to Tehachapi, since we're in Tehachapi, and I'll talk about what we do in the hinterland in a moment. But we bring them in, we train them, and then we help them get jobs. Most people think that we primarily put people into either the wind or the telecom industry, so telecommunications. That's very true. However, the certificates, so when a kid comes to our course, they're going to walk out the door with 10 recognized certificates nationally. The certificates not only allow them to be able to secure a meaningful employment up on the hill working on wind turbines or on a telecommunication tower, but all of our certificates have meaning in other industries. For instance, you'd be surprised to know, or you might be surprised to know, that we have some of our graduates that have secured meaningful employment at Starbucks. Now, I tell this story because most people would say, you guys, you have a
Barista.
kid that comes to school, they go to school for 6 or 7 weeks, and now they're working at Starbucks. Well, I'll tell you what they're not doing, they're not making coffee. What they are doing is using the skills that they learned through our program, troubleshooting electrical systems, using handheld electrical, handheld devices to fix some of the problems in some of the larger roasting plants. We have guys that work, graduates that work at Tesla. We have, matter of fact, about a year ago, we had a student go to work for Tesla, was doing some stuff with the battery banks and so on and so forth. And now this gentleman is working on the solar project for whatever Elon Musk is doing, sending all this stuff up into space. Okay? We've got guys, yes, they work on the turbines. Yes, they work in the telecommunication industry. Yes, they work at Starbucks. What we do and the way that we change lives, not just here in Tehachapi, and one of the things I told you guys I would tell you about out in the hinterland. So, back in 2014, Dave Shulden, our CEO, Jeff Duff, and a couple other folks went up to Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. And they had a meeting with the then Joint Base Commander, a current full-board colonel, and at the time, the Department of Defense had recognized the need to take care of transitioning service members. Okay, sir, how long did you get out of the military?
4 years.
4 years? No, how long ago did you get out?
This was back in the 80s.
Okay, so when you got out of the military, it was like, hey, here's your DD-214, thanks for serving, have a great day, right? So now that's changed because we recognize as the Department of Defense that our service members, whether airmen, sailors, Marines, soldiers, coasties, and now I guess they got this thing called Spacies, Space Force. Space Force. Yep, so I call them Spacies, they're zoomies on steroids, right? So, and I don't disparage the Air Force. My dad spent, 20 years in the Air Force. But what we recognize is that we weren't taking care of our transitioning service members. And, think back to 2014, 2015. We as a country had a lot going on, yeah? Big thing called Iraq and Afghanistan, right? So these kids were coming out, and what we noticed is that they were coming out of the military and they were going right into these same problems that they were having while they were in the military. The societal things that affected them in the military affected them out. Drinking, drugs, not being able to secure meaningful employment, not being able to take care of their families. And the list went on and on and on and on. So we changed the way that we transitioned our service members. We changed the way that we thought about things. And we said, here's what we're going to do. We are going to work towards getting these kids through a program and then allowing them, while they're on active duty, to go to a course that would secure them meaningful employment. Because of my past experience, I was very happy, and I won't go into it, but at the time, the Army alone was spending, and this is a staggering number, I want you guys to take this. The Army alone was spending $500 million on unemployment compensation. Let that sink in for a minute. $500 million. What that equated to was we were losing money for training. We didn't have fuel to go out to the ranges. We didn't have bullets or so on and so forth, right? And the list went on and on and on. So in 2015, the Army started this thing called Career Skills Programs. November of 2014, I'm going back a couple months, so November 2014, Dave, Jeff, and a couple other folks from Airstreams, and at the time, we were only running a school here. in Tehachapi. Went up to Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. The Joint Base Commander said, we want you guys to be a part of the Career Skills Program. How long can you get here, or how long will it take you to get here and get up and running? Well, when do you want us here? We want you here in 6 months. Whoa, that's a pretty big task. And then I retired. Somehow me and Airstreams linked up. Super happy for it. Very, very grateful. And we started off at Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. Since then, we've opened up campuses. We had a campus all the way out in Hawaii. Unfortunately, we had to close that down. We had campuses, you know, so really we were stretched from Hawaii all the way to the East Coast. 10 campuses. Okay, and we'll walk around and you'll be able to see, and you can, and this is a representation. If you look around, you know, our first campus at JBLM, our second campus at Fort Bliss, Texas. Our third campus was at Fort Irwin, down in California, and then, you know, it just goes on. Fort Riley, Kansas, Fort Hood, Texas, now called Fort Cavazos, Texas, Fort Benning, Georgia, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And what we don't have represented is we just opened up about 4 months ago in Fort Carson, Colorado. We opened up about 2 years ago-ish down at Camp Pendleton. And we serve everybody. We serve civilians, okay? We have veterans that come to our program. We have active duty service members that come to our program. And then, of course, we have civilians. So we're very, very proud. So when we walk around and we say that we've changed the lives of 10,000 people, we're very, very proud of that. This isn't one of these things where we say we have to. This is one of the things that we say we get to. And we're very proud of what we've been able to build. And just like you all, as you guys go around the country or here in the state of California, and you guys do the things that you do and recognize the things that you recognize, it's very, very important. And so similarly, I can see that there's some connectedness, if you will, between what y'all do and what we do. So with that, that was just a very, very, very quick snapshot of what we do here at Airstreams. We're gonna split up into a couple of groups, and I'll first let anybody have any questions? Anybody? Yes, sir.
How's it funded?
So, great question. So, first of all, we are an accredited organization. Okay, so when I talk about the Career Skills Program, or just our program as a whole, we have we have one accrediting body that's outside, so we are an accredited program. A veteran or an active duty service member that comes to us, they can use their GI Bill, their post 9/11 GI Bill. And so no money comes out of their pocket, but they are able to use their post 9/11 GI Bill funds to fund coming to this course. If a straight up civilian comes to the course, then there's a couple different methods that they can pay to come to the course. Of course, they can pay cash. Cash is king, right? You know, or, you know, we have different programs that would allow them to secure a loan, a very low interest loan, if you will, to allow them to come to school. Yes, sir.
What is a course like this cost?
So here in Tehachapi, we pay 18 grand for the 6 weeks. Now, when somebody comes here to Tehachapi, and as y'all will see, and this is so cool. So, where's my dude, Dominic? Dominic, there you go. Dominic's a graduate of this course. He came through in 2017, and he will be able to tell you the stories. In 2017, we were down on J Street, okay, and we were paying for housing for them, you know, 4 or 5 students in a house. And then we had the opportunity to partner with another organization to take over this facility. Some of you may know that this facility that you're sitting in right now was a GE-owned turbine factory. And what we've been able to do is to repurpose this into what you're gonna see shortly. So we built dorms. Obviously, where you're sitting right now, this is a cafeteria. You know, so it is a full live-in experience when you come here to Tehachapi. So for that 18 grand, you get housing, you get 3 meals a day, you get a great education, and then you get a place to go get some meaningful employment to take care of yourself and your family. So again, it took us about a year and a half or so to build this, to get it to where it is. We've been here for a little over 3 years-ish, somewhere in there. So again, something that we're very, very proud of, and what we thought that would be too big for us, yeah, we're like, oh man, we might need some more room, honestly. Yes, sir.
So they can start while on the end of their active duty while transitioning?
Yeah, absolutely.
Preparing for
So,
transition?
yes, sir. So the way that works is, the way the program works, by law, and I want to say it's by law, a active duty service member can attend a program like this no sooner than 180 days from the time they exit the military. So they've got 6 months. The great thing about our program is that we don't take up a whole 180 days. Out at the bases, whether it's Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, or you know, down in San Diego at Camp Pendleton, either one of the 2 bases in Texas, Fort Carson, Colorado, out in North Carolina, because as I said, we did close down Camp Lejeune, but we're moving that operation to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So the thing is, a lot of these schools will take up that whole 16 weeks. We only take up 7. So the difference between what happens in Tehachapi versus what happens on the bases is that we, here is a 6-week course. At the bases, they're a 7-week course. Same program, but everybody likes to ask, well, why is it 7 weeks out at the base and why is it 6 weeks here? Are they getting anything different? The answer is absolutely not. We have a standard curriculum that we teach to. That being said, DOD said when the programs, these career skills programs started, we had to give those active duty service members going through transition, we had to give them 1 day to go back to their units to take care of things that they needed to. So whether having to go to the VA for a physical, whether it was, you know, taking a PT test, or, you know, God forbid, you got to go out and go to the range again, you know. So it was just all these unit things. So that's what we do, and that's the difference between the 6 and the 7 weeks. So, but yes, they do get to attend on active duty.
Yeah, he was saying there's a 5-ton crane, 29-ton crane.
So they used to produce the wind components here, and we have the big roller doors. We brought in a 110-foot trailer that was on, and we just used our overhead bridge crane. We picked it up and just dropped it right there. So easy day. But now we use this obviously as a training facility. So
Pretty cool.
It's broke down into our weeks. So we have week 1, we do American Red Cross, CPR, OSHA 10, and then we get into rigging and signals. So we do, okay, that's our 80-foot one. Over here we have a
Climbing course here, climbing towers.
Obviously, all these movers you can see over here, the way you access them is on a ladder. So probability-wise, most of your rescues or emergencies are going to have to do with the ladder. And so that's what we really focus on. Ladder rescues, and using the ladders and all the safety when it comes to climbing here. So we built this structure, fall protection, climbing habits, you know, all those things, and it's all focused around safety. So we come out here, our students can climb. The weather's usually, you know, it gets a little cold, but throughout the year it's not too bad. And they can be out here climbing, and then I'll show you the inside structure as well. So questions out here. Kind of ingenuity that we have.
Roll it out. Let's see. Oh yeah.
So our students can come over and do hands-on. They do weatherproofing. They learn how to make these connections that they'll have to do out in the industry. But we could take our antennas and fly them and mount them up here on the lattice. So they're doing climbing. They're using capstan hoists. So those capstan hoists mount. Use ropes and fly the equipment up. They use all their safety trainings for climbing, making sure everything's tied off. Use tool tags and fall prevention for their tools. And then we can also do rescues right here as well. All right, the nacelles, this is actually a nacelle right here. So instead of it being, 180
Look how big this is.
there,
Can't really tell how tall it is with Dante, but
so right here would be the hub, and then you have your 3 blades going off, but this is the actual nacelle.
like this right here is the center of this is about 6 feet, a little over 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Crazy, massive.
Well, there's a big laydown yard in Mojave, and you'd see all the white sticks laying out there, and all of these big boxes and all that.